Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Cocktails up here feel just right. Is Cambria amazing? All right. Bring a date, your teen, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com. See you on the roof.
Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast with Kevin and Chuck. Today we're going to talk about building a bug-out vehicle. Now maybe it's putting together a bug-out vehicle. Maybe it's picking the right car. Maybe it's going out and buying a new Honda or Toyota Prius. I don't know. Whatever works for you. That's what we're going to talk about. So basically what I think is you need to decide what your goals are. So if you're like, oh, I have a camp a million miles away and I got to get there no matter what. All right, that's one type of vehicle. Now, I like to wait to the last minute and I'm going to have to go through chaos and stress, or I watch the news and I'm going to have a nice casual, cruise down there. These are different things to think about. Or are you like, I'm going to the mountains and I'm going off-road and off-grid and going through anything? You got to decide what's the vehicle that's right for your plan. If you're bugging in, you need to make sure your car is going to be able to get you home from wherever the hell you are. And that's your bug-out vehicle.
Right, and that's it.
That's what you need to focus on, because having the Humvee, well, maybe a Hummer's, an H1. Maybe that works in any situation because you're like, fuck it, get out of my way. I'm running you down. But, you also kind of want the low profile, when there's checkpoints or, cops shut things down. If you just look like, oh, I'm just getting home to my wife. But if you got the AR-15 and the gun rack in the back, then maybe you're a different guy. Yeah, So you just got to decide, what do you want? What do you want to build? And we'll start there. Just kind of prepare in your mind what the right thing is.
Right. When you bug out, where are you going? That's a real question you need to ask before you start picking bug out vehicles.
Right. Now, then, with that said, there's certain criteria that kind of cover every vehicle.
Right.
And every situation. Like one thing that I notice people make big mistakes is your tires.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Tires are the most important thing to any vehicle. As far as like a dollar for dollar, way you can affect it. Like people say, oh, sports cars, they're crappy in bad weather. Well, that's because you have tires that are meant for dry, flat, smooth, nice, and they're meant for that. They're meant for summer weather.
They're meant for going fast, and that's
if you put all-terrain tires on the car, they're actually pretty decent aside of the ground clearance.
Right.
Now, that sometimes is an issue, sometimes it's not. If you have 8 inches of ground clearance and you get 4 inches of snow, a Corvette with Corvette factory tires would suck ass. But you put some Blizzak snow tires, no problem at all. That's a great car, and it'll take care of you.
And last year I actually changed up the snow tire thing, started, use snow tires for the first time on all 4 wheels. Huge difference. Never realized how big of a difference it is. Now I do it every year.
Yeah, it's really important to have the proper tires. you heard me actually mention the Blizzak tires. Snow and ice, they're amazing. Wrangler makes some nice, tough truck tires. And right, Wrangler? Is that what I want? The Goodyear Wranglers, I think they're called. That's what I meant, Goodyear. But they're Goodyear Wranglers.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. There's a bunch of good stuff out there. You got to go to somebody like Tire Rack or something like that and read the reviews. That's where I came up with the Blizzak tires. They'll do the side-by-side comparison. Like you just type in, I'm looking for, whatever you put in your car tire size.
Right.
And it'll say snow, rain, whatever. Right. And look at the reviews and you'll be like, oh. Like I realized I used to buy expensive sports car tires. Back in the day, it was all, I want Z-rated tires. So you get the flat tire at 100 miles an hour. I don't want to die. That was my thing. But it was never thinking snow or rain or whatever. I was thinking I want to go 100 miles an hour and I want to be able to take turns at 90.
Right.
That was what was important to me at the time. I used to be a little bit of a fast driver back in the day.
Yeah, but, I remember that. I don't think it's all gone yet.
It's not all gone? I don't know. But, so that was the thing. But I would go in the website, and it was like, Yokohama tires, and Dunlop had some tires, but that were like $60. And I was paying, $1.80 for a tire.
Per tire.
And I switched to the other based on the ratings, and I was like, these are just as good, and I'm just as happy. So, it's not always the dollar amount, but look at the reviews, see what other people are saying. And seriously, don't let your tires get bald. Don't let them be all dry rot and crappy.
Right.
And have tires that are appropriate. If you want to go off-roading, if your plan is to get up to your wilderness camp, or honestly, if your plan is to do a fair amount of driving, you're probably going to want something that can handle a little bit of traction. In general, a good rule, when you say bug out vehicle, it really should be 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Again, that's bug out vehicle. Like I said, I mean, if you're the city guy and you're like, I just have to get to my house, 10 miles out of the city, it might not be that big a deal, especially if you live in a warmer climate.
Right.
I know here we have a lot of mountains, a lot of snowstorms, a lot of bad stuff. You really kind of minimum want front wheel drive, and you're going to need decent snow kind of tires. Like I said, that's why I buy those Blizzak tires.
Yeah,
they're
great. I don't
great.
think it's a bad idea even to have a set of tires that you can change out in your garage, Maybe you got your everyday driving. I keep snow tires and, switch them out every year. But, when your tires start getting bald, maybe take those tires, throw one of them in your trunk for a spare. Get rid of that donut. Start there,
All right.
Donuts are no good when you're trying to make some difference.
Distance. Yeah.
Yep.
No, exactly. So, all right. Yeah, I lectured you for 7 minutes on tires. But, hey, they're, like I said, the key to any vehicle. So then we have now you need to think about fuel economy. If you're trying to go cross country, do you want the car that gets the 25 or 30 or 35 miles to the gallon? Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't necessarily want to be driving a tractor trailer if you got to pay for all the gas.
Right. But that said, maybe you're worried about an EMP. Then you need something. What did we decide? 1986 was the cutoff.
The cutoff, yep.
And
they made some great
if you
Broncos
need something prior to 1986, well, now back gas mileage, you're not really in that 35 mile range. That or you're driving the Pinto, So I don't know. You need to think about that kind of stuff. Now, the next thing is, all right, when you're bugging out, how many people? What do what's your family? Are you going to be all squished in there? Are you a bunch of supplies? Do you have 100% ready stocked bug out location where you have to bring nothing and nothing's important to you. You don't care about, your family
get Bobby's teddy bear
and
whatever.
That's it. And, all right, then you need one set of space, in your vehicle.
Per person, right.
But if you're thinking, oh, well, you know what? All our clothes, all our stuff is here. We're not really that prepared at the bug out location because I keep half my preps here and half there in case I can't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're planning on moving all that crap, you need the vehicle that can do it.
Right. And it's great to, if you got a bug out bag packed and everything, but what about all your ammo? What about, water? What about
guns,
everything?
Your water,
all your food?
Your everything. So
you've got a lot of supplies to bring with you if you're not fully stocked up at your bug out location.
So when you're choosing a vehicle, you want something that's going to be able to store and move, one, the amount of people you want.
Right.
And two, the amount of stuff that those people require.
And there's a good likelihood that you're going to be bringing more than the people you initially thought. Right, bonus people. Granddad from the nursing home.
Granddad?
Or your friend who him and his wife just had a baby. Now you got 3 extra passengers. You got to think about that sort of stuff. You don't want to have to turn away friends just because you got your car too packed.
Yep.
But another thing to think about is whenever I pack up stuff, I think about all the gear I need for the week camping trip, and I load it all into the car. But then I always remember, there's always that extra other stuff that I forgot about, and now the kid's sitting up on top of 3 boxes in the back seat.
Yeah, that doesn't.
So you really need to plan for your storage.
I mean, you want to take as much stuff as you can,
right?
And I like that. But also, and if your plan includes, well, I have a totally prepared bug out trailer that I'm just going to hook up and we're going to go, one, that's awesome and cool on you. But remember, you got to maneuver through other people trying to get out of the city.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying think about all these things and decide how you're going to do it.
Right.
And if maybe that's your plan, maybe you bring the trailer out to your location when things start getting a little questionable instead of waiting to the last minute.
Right.
So many times, like all the prepper books and the different things, it's always like the wife is like, no, let's just wait. I think things will turn around. Or maybe it's the husband and maybe he's the weak link in the equation. But, that's the thing. You need to leave when it's time. Because when everybody's going, they talk about, everybody's going to go to the store and it's all going to be wiped out. We have a big storm coming and all of a sudden everything's gone off the shelves. There's no bread. There's no, milk. All this stuff runs out. Well, same thing. Gas. Are you going to have enough gas? That's something you need to think about beforehand.
Right.
As things are going bad. You should be the guy who's keeping a half tank in your car all the time. Don't let it get lower than that. Just make it a habit to, fill it up. It's part of prepping.
Right.
Have some cans.
And having 5 gallons in the garage, we talked about fuel storage, but you can use that gas for your lawnmower. It doesn't it's not like it's just going to go to waste. You can use it, you can store it, you can
So, with that, I want to kind of talk about a couple of types of vehicles.
All right.
Now, I actually was reading one of these, like, Brad Thor books or something. I do a lot of audiobooks to pass the time I get bored, whatever. I think it was Brad Thor, who, actually, the guy has no detail in any of his freaking stories, and it always pisses me off. Because I want to learn something, you know? But one of the tricks that the main character ends up doing is, he has, like, a black Tahoe or a black Suburban, and when a crisis happens, he gets on the highway and he sees a row of like government SUVs that are all black and slick, and he just jumps in the line and goes 100 right with them. And he's like, nobody questions when you have the tinted, black government looking vehicle, especially if you're following the group of the other people,
Right.
And they're obviously going somewhere important, so they're not really looking to mess with you for... And I was like, that's kind of cool, if you have
an idea.
The government-looking vehicle, maybe you're a little less, people won't want to mess with you quite as much. It's something to think about. And maybe the black Tahoe or Suburban, those are outdated for government vehicles. now around here. Are they all Durangos or Cherokee? I don't know what the cops got. Our state police have these weird...
Yeah, I think they're Expeditions.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, maybe Ford Expeditions. I don't know. So whatever. I'm just saying, a Suburban, you can load the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
once you fill that tank up, you can make some distance.
You can make some distance because they have the big tanks that match the crappy gas mileage, you know? So that's something to consider. Also, the fact that you can fit so much stuff inside the vehicle.
Right.
Not on a roof rack, not on the back, not bragging, hey, I'm full of crap. It can be all hidden inside. And so that there's a lot to be said for that as a great choice with a prepper vehicle. But again, take into consideration your, thing.
Right.
But also you put some nice tires on that. That might be a decent off-road vehicle too. Next, a regular full-size four-wheel drive pickup.
Yeah.
Ford F-150 is the most common pickup in America, which means parts are readily available. That's kind of a nice bonus. Pickups, you can put a ton of crap in there.
Yep.
And maybe you put a cap on it, maybe you don't, you just tarp it, but you can move a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I've got an F-250 that when I take a camping, the kid's not sitting on any boxes.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, one of our listeners, Austin, was asking us to do an episode about bug out vehicles between
that's why we're here.
Trucks and Jeeps. Now I asked him, and he kind of had the same sort of opinion that I've come to afterwards.
All right.
Basically, that Jeeps are a little bit better at off-roading.
Right.
But you can haul a lot more in a pickup truck.
Well, here's what I think. I mean, one, Jeeps are always like geared like monsters. You know, they can climb over anything and they can do anything. And also, usually the shorter wheelbase, you're going to be able to maneuver off-road through a lot tighter terrain than you can in a full-size pickup.
Right.
I usually, if I have the extended cab, I like a 6-foot bed on my pickup so I don't get too big of a frame. Some of these guys get the extended cab and the 8-foot bed.
Yeah, that's what I got.
And I'm like, oh, that wheelbase. Yeah, you're like, oh my God.
I gotta pull in and back up and pull back in again.
I'll do an 8-foot bed if I got the straight, the short cab, but otherwise, whatever. So, again, it really comes down to what we were just saying of, it's storage. Do you need to move a lot of space? You're going to go with the pickup. If you're just like single guy and his girlfriend, maybe single guy and your small child and girlfriend or whatever, then you probably could get away with the Jeep, especially if if you're not moving your whole life.
Right.
If you're like, oh, we're leaving our house and we're never coming back and we didn't plan for this, you probably want more storage and more space than you're ever going to get out of a Jeep.
Right.
But Jeeps are freaking awesome. Yeah. I mean, if I'm going up in the mountains and I'm planning and I'm hanging out and it's just me or, me and a friend, Jeep sounds like the winner.
Yeah. And bottom line, both of those things can drive over the median when you got to get around traffic. Both of them can get through, basic rough terrain. Dirt roads and things like that. It might be not great driving your Ford Focus up there, but you can get your truck up there and you can get your Jeep up there.
Right.
But, Jeeps really will take you the extra distance if
they are starting to stretch them out a little bit. They're getting a little bigger as time goes on.
Yep. If you do choose the 4x4 pickup truck, just bring a chainsaw with you, maybe.
There you go. I like it. You make your own road. No messing around. Also, Subaru Outback. Decent little, usually they're all-wheel drive or
they're
whatever.
All-wheel drive, yep.
So some great maneuverability there. But again, you're kind of trading off some of the clearance and a little bit of the storage.
Right.
But again, your budget. Also, maybe your bug-out vehicle has to be your everyday vehicle.
Right.
And maybe you can afford the gas and deal with driving a truck all the time. A lot of us do. But maybe you can't. And maybe it needs to be a more affordable car. Then think about the right car.
Yeah.
So that's all. Just, take these things into account and realize what you're capable of. Maybe make friends with the guy with the F-150.
There you go.
All right? And then tell him to man up and get at least a 2,500, though, because, come on.
Yeah, no, seriously,
you're just
don't
messing around.
spread it around with your friends that you have a pickup truck if you do, because you're always going to be the one they call to help move.
It's not fun.
No.
You can come plow me. You can. All right, so now we've kind of picked out our vehicle. We got the right tires on there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to touch base on a few basic vehicle types real quick.
Okay.
And, because a bug-out vehicle is great when you've got, you got the money to pick out exactly what you want, and you're not broke. But let's just run through some of the basics of maybe what you've got in the driveway and the benefits, the pros and cons of them. If you just have a basic car, a small car, that's not terrible.
Okay.
It's discreet. Usually you get, decent gas mileage. You can use it as a shelter. You can sleep in there. And you can probably fix it fairly easily depending on the type of car it is. SUVs are also not bad bug-out vehicles, especially if they're all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. They can handle basic rough terrain. You can drive over the median. You can drive through grass. And you can also use it every day. You can drive back and forth to work there.
And guess what? When the bad thing happens, you're already in your bug-out vehicle. You're ready.
Right. You're ready to go. A lot of people actually have been talking about RVs. And I kind of like that idea in the sense that you have a lot more space for equipment, for people. It's a good shelter because you've already got a bathroom. You've already got a kitchen in there. It's set up for electricity. Some of them even come with solar setups. They're a little bit difficult to maneuver. You're going to have a hard time getting through some of those old narrow dirt roads. They can be expensive. They're not easy to hide. If you're trying to get away from somebody, you're going to be spotted pretty quick. High fuel consumption. But all if you're bugging out and you don't have a bug out location, you can bring your bug out location with you.
I like that.
So there's something to be said about that. Now, motorcycles. Terrible bug out vehicles in the sense that you're not going to really be able to bring anything with you.
You might be able to get out of the city.
That's right. You can outrun just about anybody. You can drive a lot of places, almost anywhere with a motorcycle.
An off-road, an enduro.
Right.
I've taken the Harley where I'm like bringing it around the side yard or something. Mm-hmm. As soon as that thing's on like the softest like dirt, like that thing just wants to fall over.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't even walk it when the ground's a little wet through the grass.
That's it,
It just boom right over.
All right.
So just saying.
All right. But they on-road, off-road motorcycle maybe.
The right tires, I say yes.
Mm-hmm. Great fuel consumption too.
Yeah.
And easy to hide. Easy to repair.
But we've all seen those jackasses on sport bikes that are street tires that weave in and out of 80 cars to get where they're going.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That's definitely an option.
If you're trying to outrun the hurricane, maybe not the best. Not the best in rain. Not the best when it's 10 degrees outside.
All right.
And you can't really use it as a shelter. You can't ride out a storm sitting inside your motorcycle. So. There are things to be said for motorcycles depending on the situation you're in. I just wouldn't plan on the motorcycle being the one.
All right. But again, it all depends on your bug out plan.
That's right.
All right. So we're moving forward?
Moving forward.
All right. So this section, basically, things we might do to our bug out vehicle. Now, maybe this is what you were thinking when you guys asked for a bug out vehicle episode. Mm-hmm. So one thing you always see, like, remember the old Jeeps in the military when you want to be tough, they all had the extra fuel. They had the jerry cans in the back.
Right.
You know what? Having extra fuel tanks in there, not a bad way to go. Mm-hmm. That's something you definitely want to plan for, is either a vehicle that has a naturally large gas tank mm-hmm. or extra gas there. Mm-hmm. That way you're not stuck.
And even if you made a mistake and you don't you don't have full cans, there's nothing wrong with throwing those empties in there, because another great thing to bring with you is a fuel siphon.
Oh,
a siphon pump.
Secret of the pros there.
That's right.
Now, you also, the cans, but also I find that gas cans during a fuel shortage are a premium too.
Yeah.
People will charge you $50 for the empty can and then $50 to fill it.
Yeah, and you see that at gas stations near highways and stuff a lot. They're charging $50, $60 for those gas cans because they know that you ran out of gas and you're a dumbass and you're walking in there and you need to get a container
because you're not a prepper.
Right.
All right. And that's why we make laws that say you can't put it in that gallon water jug because I got to sell you this
$60 gallon gas can.
So, also, you might want to think about installing like cargo racks. I know in my trucks, one, I got chains for towing.
Yep.
And I'm pulling logs and all kinds of stumps, whatever, all the time. But you may be pulling another vehicle out.
Right.
You also, a lot of guys like to do a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea just in general to have one in your car.
That's always, a smart move. I love bungees and ratchet straps.
Right.
Ratchet straps, until I really got the motorcycle, that wasn't something I thought of. And now I use them all the time. All kinds of, good options you can do there with being able to tie things down properly. Another beefy upgrade you might want to do is replace your bumpers. Now, if you have a nice solid steel bumper and you're confident with it, cool, go with it. But you may, they sell a lot of aftermarket bumpers that are really tough. And I got to say, if you're pushing other vehicles off the road or just moving through, worried about roadblocks, anything like that, then it can mean all the difference. A cool winch on there. Again, a winch says, hey, look at me, I'm a crazy prepper. But it also is kind of cool.
Handy.
They can come in pretty handy when you got to get things out of the way.
And you can use it to, when you get knocked off road in a ditch or something, you can use it to pull yourself out.
Yeah, that definitely works.
There's a lot of benefits to having a winch on your vehicle.
Having great headlights and windshield wipers that are decent are kind of key, because how often when all of a sudden the crappy storm hits and then you're like, oh, I have crappy wipers.
Yeah, shit, I gotta stop.
You don't notice you have crappy wipers until, because they usually work for like crappy, reasonable weather. And then as it gets worse, you get screwed. So don't get screwed, What else? Now there's also like, I don't know, what else did you have for like upgrades? Anything else, or you want to add?
Well, I do want to touch on real quick again, just the spare tire.
Okay.
Get a full size tire. They're not that expensive. Go to a junkyard, get a wheel, get a tire, put it in there. Nobody wants to drive 50 miles on a donut. It's ridiculous.
That sounds like great advice to me. Now, then I have kind of, I think like bug out bag, but like your go bag, your cargo bag, that kind of thing. These are things that you really should be keeping in your bug out vehicle. I like binoculars. That's, maybe not absolute if you're tight on space. That'd maybe be one I'd push to the side. A blanket, especially like a wool blanket. Fire retardant, like the Navy ones that we, used to have. Anybody in the military, you know what I'm talking about. Those things are great for a million things.
Yep.
Even if you're just laying on the ground in your nice clothes to change a tire or fix something underneath on your way to a job interview, it just is nice. An extra shirt, military, keep some extra socks. They like that kind of thing. Communication devices. You guys probably don't know, but CBs, that kind of thing, that may be the difference. GPS is nice. Fire starting device, just minimum. Throw a lighter in the glove box, First aid kit. That actually comes in handy. I know you guys have heard me mention in the past that I keep a trauma bag. to me, that's a big deal. I don't want to be where I could help somebody, but I don't have what I need, or, it costs me time. Mm-hmm. Flashlights. Always have decent flashlights in your car. Mm-hmm. I keep a flashlight and a Leatherman in every car I own. Mm-hmm. What else? I usually keep a decent knife in all my cars, but that's aside of the Leatherman. I mean, Leatherman's probably enough, but I keep a knife. It's what I do. Maybe maps, some old school maps in there. Not a bad idea, at least to your local area.
Some of the things I like to bring with me when I'm going on longer trips, jump starter.
Okay.
Not just the cables. Cables are great when you're helping somebody else out. But I've had situations where somebody's
we always help somebody else out.
No.
But nobody's around when
when you need it, it's best to have one of those jump starters. I like to keep a can of Fix-A-Flat. And believe it or not, Fix-A-Flat is not designed for this. But I had a flat tire, like flat. And filled it up with Fix-A-Flat, went to a gas station, filled it up with air, and that was 2 weeks ago. Tire's still great. I mean, it's a brand new tire. I don't know why it went flat, but
you can kind of go forever with Fix-A-Flat, I gotta tell you.
Obviously, a toolbox you want in there. Basic ratchet set toolbox. Power inverters are great too. They have those power inverters where you can plug into your cigarette lighter and then actually plug in, like a 3-prong cord. Like charge up your battery packs, or charge up whatever. Run a power saw off it. Shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Extra oil. I keep that in there just because I drive a shitty car, but that doesn't mean you're not going to hit your fuel or your oil filter on something when you're trying to drive over that median that we were talking about.
I've patched hoses with Gorilla Tape. Is another huge, repair tool.
Yep.
In my glove box, lighter, Leatherman, flat screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver. I have one of those ridiculous, like $10 socket sets, the little mini ones.
Yep.
Whatever. I don't even care about that. But, and I have a crescent wrench. Mm-hmm. And again, it's one of those little ones, whatever. But those things are always there.
Right.
And at least I'm not completely stuck. And I ended up having a radiator hose blow out. And I put the Gorilla Tape on there. Mm-hmm. And I ran around, couldn't find the right hose. It was a Sunday. Nobody was open. The next day, I buy the right radiator hose. And I threw a bunch of jugs of water in the back of my truck. And I went 3 weeks where I didn't bother changing it because I didn't get around to it. Uh-huh. But I was like, well, I have the water and I have the hose.
You're ready to go.
The hose is in the truck. And I'm the guy who just pulls over on the side of the road, and I'll change that when it's time. But it never leaked working off the Gorilla Tape. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, it could come in handy.
All right.
Little hose maker there.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I did with my cars, and it's not necessarily the best idea, but I live in a rural area, and I got one of those little magnetic boxes, the hide key, and stuck it up on all my cars. Now, some of the keys that I made didn't work to start the car, but when the keys are locked in the car, you can at least unlock it. And you're outside
the car?
Right. You can at least unlock it. Some of the keys right now, if you want to get a replacement key, you could be looking at $200 on some of these keys. But,
if you buy old crappy cars like me.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad idea to have a set of keys.
Yeah.
Even if it's just in the house someplace. Mm-hmm. Just grab it, throw it in your pocket, throw it in, your wife's purse, whatever. Just have an extra set. That way when you need them, you're not screwed.
I like that.
All right. So that's my spiel on things you should carry in there. Now that's not including your your basic bug out bag,
right,
that you want to grab anyway.
Right, and we talked about everyday carry. You might be like, oh, Chuck, you should have a handgun. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, got you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
And this is a show about bug out vehicles, not everyday carry and bug out bags.
And I mean, sure, you might keep an AR-15 under your seat in your car.
Hey.
To each his own, right?
I'm not going to fault you.
You know, there may be, in my vehicle, some hollow point zombie killers from Hornady, because you never know. You might need that extra box and some pre-positioned clips, magazines. Whoa.
Sorry.
Magazines.
Sorry.
Whoa. Don't want to upset anybody. But, these things you should be thinking about. Now, I do have to tell you guys, I have an absolute favorite bug-out vehicle.
Do you?
And I'm going to tell you what it is.
Is it an M1 Abrams tank?
That would be good.
They're only $5 million.
I actually like the Deuce and a Half.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick them up, I'd say around $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
You find some really sweet ones for like 15, but I've seen them as cheap as $4, and you can definitely. I see a fair amount for that $7,000 neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Now let me tell you about the Deuce and a Half. One, nobody's stopping you on the road. You don't even have to worry about changing the bumpers. Mm-hmm. They got you. Done.
They already got you.
That's already there, and it's $7,000. You can leave this thing positioned. Remember, I said you don't want to be towing around a big giant trailer and going through trying to weave in and out of traffic. Mm-hmm. Weaving in and out of traffic with a Deuce and a Half, not a problem. You're thinking, oh, you'll bang into everybody. Yeah, not a problem.
Yep.
So, all right. But they're huge. They're unstoppable. They're geared low where, just they have power. You're not the speed vehicle.
Right.
But you have power and traction. You fit half your house in there. So right away, nobody's stopping you because you got a Deuce and a Half. And right away, they know you're not messing around, That's not like, oh, that guy's a prepper. It's like, oh, that guy's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where we're at. Now you're like, well, wait, Chuck, diesel, a lot of, people are going to run out of diesel. But let me tell you about the joy of that. Now, diesel, Deuce and a Half, your whole oil tank at your house, no problem. That's diesel. Like a giant gas tank. Mm-hmm. Kerosene you got around for whatever, put it diesel. In the Deuce and a Half, no problem. Now, here's where it gets cool. We burn through all that. Guess what? It's the end of the world. Everybody else has used up all the gas, right? There's no gas. Mm-hmm. We see cars sporadically all over the roads where they ran out of gas. Every one of those cars has oil in the engine. Mm-hmm. You drain that oil out, throw it in the Deuce and a Half gas tank. You're driving. No problem. It's running on your crappy motor oil out of all those cars.
Really?
Secret of the pros.
All right.
Vegetable oil, you stop at McDonald's. Give me some of that. Give me your grease from the fryer. I'm going to throw it in the gas tank. I'm rolling. So there is a slight caveat to that. Mm-hmm. One, you want to kind of filter it. You don't want it to be all chunky and nasty.
Right.
But it'll run on chunky and nasty. Mm-hmm. I got to point that out. I just don't know how long.
Right.
But then, two, when it's running on straight oil, it won't start on oil.
Okay.
It'll keep running on oil, but it won't start on oil. Now, this is your main bug-out vehicle. I would say have 2 tanks, a right and a left, and one you have gas for your initial warm-up, or diesel, not gas. Right. That'll end badly. And then put your oil in the other tank, and you're working it out.
Just keep one filled with
and you just keep adding the oil to the crap, and you're in. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, that's something you might want to think about. It's been a fantasy of mine. The old lady's like, you're not parking that damn thing in my yard. But, we all have dreams.
You got a long driveway. You can just park it down at the end.
She won't know.
She won't notice.
If I can get rid of the boat, we're freaking in,
Yeah, I was actually looking at tanks to buy.
Yeah, sure.
And you'd be amazed how cheaply you can get surplus Soviet armored vehicles.
Really?
I mean, I'm talking about like $18,000 price range. You can get them, and that's imported and everything.
Nice.
So keep that in mind. If you're really a really crazy person, then maybe that's the way you want to go.
Not bad. Now, I kind of wanted to close this out with, you also any vehicle you choose to be your, I'm going to go through the end of the world vehicle, you need some extra things. I'd like to see an extra battery.
Right.
And you know, it'd be cool if it was like a dry cell or one of these nice ones that's just going to last forever. And if it's not, that's okay. Buy your $25, you know, crappy battery store place one. That's okay. But you got to check it. You got to keep it charged up. If you're not going to spend the money, you got to, you know, whatever. If you want to set it and forget it, because I don't have time for that crap, then spend the $150 and buy a nice dry cell, and you can change your name to Kickin' Ass. I mean, that's what
I would.
Come on, right? So, all right, we got that. Extra fuel filters.
Right.
I would do an extra oil. I would do like a complete oil change air filter kit. You know, do your little oil filter and at least one, you know, case of oil.
Right.
I think that's a go-to.
You can get those 5-quart jugs.
I don't think you're really, you know, Kevin had mentioned having the spare tire. I think that might be enough. I mean, I don't think you're wearing out tires in the end of the world that you're driving so much.
Right.
But the fact that one might get shot out, or you might put a branch through it or something driving off road, or, you know, your random blowout that happens.
Yeah, I go through tires left and right just
We've
driving
mentioned
around
having a
zones.
patch kit. You're an idiot if you don't. That's something, you know, we talked about. I carry in the car. I actually, you know, I get a flat tire. I usually can pull into a gas station and patch it right there and fill it back up, and I'm driving again and don't even think twice. And I don't even do anything. I mean, that's it. It's done. Fixed.
It's fixed. It's not like you need to get to a tire store to replace it after that.
You know, the initial kit, a patch kit, is like $7 or something. And then they have the replacement, like rope and glue or whatever, is like $2 or $3. It's not a big deal. Just something to think about.
Yeah.
What else? What else would you do for your maintenance?
Serpentine belt. I'd grab an extra one of those.
I think belts are a great idea. I think, you know, maybe spark plugs, but really if you're doing your maintenance and taking care of stuff.
Yeah, your spark plug should be good.
I mean, because I'm assuming you're going to do another 10,000 miles at most. And, you know, on your vehicle in the end of the world, or else stores and things will be open.
Right.
Is in my scenario, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't know what you're prepping for. Maybe you're running straight road warrior where you're, you know, driving around following a gas tank, or, you know, maybe that's what you're doing. But yeah, for me, you know, I don't see more than like 2,000 or 3,000 miles, but I still think your basic maintenance stuff, because it sucks when it falls apart on you.
Right. Right. That's everything I got.
That's it? All right. No, that's solid. So, like I said, let's go buy a Jeep.
Yeah.
I had to say they're a little rough riding around. You're bouncing around. You see those nice, like, Rocky Ridge ones for like 51 grand.
Listen, I know people say they're uncomfortable.
But man up, right?
Yeah, man up.
All right. You know.
And
guys want to date girls that have Jeeps because they're like, I want to drive that Jeep. You know, right?
Yep.
And girls want to date guys with Jeeps because they're like, I want to go to the beach.
I once went out with a lesbian for 2 months because she had a Jeep.
She had a Jeep.
Yeah.
You know, see? Problem solver. It's bad. So that's what I got on bug out vehicles.
All right.
Now, what do you got about what's going on in the world? Everything's good?
Everything's good right now. It looks like everybody's abandoning ship over at Trump headquarters, but you know, we'll see what happens there.
Well, nobody likes when you turn on guns. I know that's not why they're abandoning ship, but I didn't like it when he kind of said mean, hurtful things about guns.
Now you're starting to notice his hair, aren't you?
And now I'm like, you know, maybe that guy does look a little orange, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, see? You can't go after my guns. That's just not right. You give a little and then get uncomfortable. Start squirmish a little bit.
Yeah, now if you want to send us an email, send it over to preppingbadass@gmail.com.
All right.
All your hate mail, everything, send it right to me.
All right. I don't know if you guys have joined the Prepping Badass group. That's something you might want to do. We're pretty good there. If you search that, I'll be sure to let you in. And also, the Prepping Badass page, facebook.com/preppingbadass. Patreon, you love the show, you want to support us, patreon.com/preppingbadass. And someday we're going to update the website and it's going to be cool again. I don't know, that day hasn't come yet, so you don't need to get too worried.
Mm-hmm.
But we're working on it. Baby steps.
If you joined the Facebook group, then you would see the post about the spaghetti knife.
Oh.
But if you wanted to actually get a knife that was decent in quality, you could go over to Spaneye Blades and check his Facebook page out.
Nice. I will throw a link to that up in the show notes. And otherwise, stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.